So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, all right, if you want to be that way, then be that way. And she says, okay, Buster, now it's time to get rid of that barking parrot. My parrot doesn't bark, I say. But what's to say about any parrot that barks like a dog but flies like a bird? Any Hoosers. I get up all like, yeah, okay, so I can leave and take the barking parrot with me. But if I'm taking the parrot, then you're making me a ham sandwich. Let's make that a ham sandwich with double tomatoes and heavy with the Dijonnaise. So here we are at some kind of a Mexican standoff with a barking bird in a cage and a juiced up ham Sammy on the line. She squares me up, looks me right in my good eye and says, I don't know who you think you are, mister, but my elevator doesn't quite get to the top of your swing set. So I'm sitting here thinking I'm pretty friggin' hungry. This dumb parrot is starting to bark. It's barking like a sick chihuahua. And I gotta deal with a lady kicking me out of my own scum hole who's not even offering a juiced up ham Sammy in return. So I'm the type of guy that comes from the far side of the parking lot. As in, I got a small bum shack set up in the woods on the empty side of the supermarket parking lot. Now, just because I don't mind bumming around in my own little scum hole, rolling around in forest leaves and 10-year-old newspapers, doesn't mean that I don't enjoy a good chicken gizzard. But let me tell you, when a random fella walks up to my little slice of spoiled custard, half crunked with a tin of chicken gizzards and a tube of mayo, well, let me just say that I'm not going to take that one lying down in a pile of pig balls. And when I say lying down, I mean lying down like a drunk poodle with a belly full of gummy bears and table wine. Any Hoosers, like I was saying, I come from the other side of the parking lot. And when I say I come from the other side of the lot, I mean that I'm laid up in a 40-year-old sleeping bag, cooking cow patties and hickory leaves with a pack of gas station matches. Comprende? Now, just because I come from that other side of the lot, don't mean I'm sitting there thinking, oh, this, that, and the other. I'm not like that, man. The only thing I'm really worried about is some little half-smashed woodsy fella rolling up on my side of the parking lot. You know where I keep my sleeping bag and old comic books? Well, yeah. Any Hoosers, I'll be a monkey's red-headed step-uncle before I get all, yeah, come hang out at my neck of the crud, right? So here we go again, man. I'm just sitting there eating a can of beef sticks in my backyard bum mud bucket when a wheezy little crankcase named Bucky comes waltzing by. Like he just took a turf dump in my acreage. Now, I'm not really big on protecting my backyard mud holders, but when a guy named Bucky wants to drop his shoe prints in my backyard log stopper, I'm gonna sit up and take a quick peek with my good eye. Any Hoosers? I says to Bucky, hey man, this is my back acreage and you can't just walk your horse feet all through town like you own the place. And speaking of owning the place, my great Aunt Randy always said, whoever smelled it needs to empty the bucket in the back acreage down by Farmer Greg's stink ditch. Well, anyway, not too happy with old Bucky, that little turf-dumping yard elf.
Now, I like to do a little camping with my buddies. And Just because I spend a lot of time living outdoors and rolling around in termite mounds doesn't mean that I won't enjoy a camping trip with Leghound Larry, or with Fartin' Frank, or even with old Stank Shoot Stanley. Any Hoosers, we got all jazzed up on cow pats and cheese balls and took a 5-hour walk over to the public campgrounds. You know the type, where you can rent a 1/4-acre bum hole for $5, so long as you keep your trap shut about the family of dump dogs squatting in the porta pots. Old mud-blowing Stanley showed up to camp with nothing but half a good leg and a pack of raccoon cakes. In my neck of the scum hole, we call that showing up empty. And showing up empty is the same as showing up with a half-eaten porch egg. Well, let me tell you, I turned around and looked Stanley right in his scuzz. I said, "Stanley, if you think you're just gonna show up to this public pothole with nothing but your bad name and a jar of skunk duds, then you got another thing coming." Like I was saying, I like to go camping with my buddies. But what's to say about carrying your own weight? Maybe Stanley knows something about that now. Friggin shows up to a $5 campathon with nothing but a fake leg and a half case of wood cakes.
There's nothing like sitting in your kitchen at the folding table with an old box of table wine and an egg salad sandwich. Hold on a minute there, Captain Rain on my parade. I'm not talking about the egg salad sandwich that costs an arm and 3 horse legs at the local gas hole. I'm talking about the kind of egg salad Sammy that my great-uncle Skunk Buns used to special make for the family around Columbus Day. His egg salad could make a happy man leave his wife for a decent-looking house cat. It was so damn good that my neighbor Chuck got a whiff of it and set off to live down by a polluted retention pond for a few years. Any Hoosers, back to that evil egg bread. This friggin' piece of scuzz bread was so potent, my Grandma Todd had 2 bites for lunch and ended up feet first in a tub of sheep's fat molasses. It took 3 grown men, 2 mid-sized roosters, a winch, and a tub of Mississippi crud flaps to scoop one of her dusty cheeks out of the dang thing.
What's to say about a fella that don't mind his manners around a lady? My cousin Theodore don't even mind his manners around a rusty cart gremlin from the woods by the Jiffy Store crud dumpsters. And she's considered to be a lady in at least 4 states. Now, I know what you're thinking. I can smell it. But just take her down a few taints. Just because someone carries their clothes around the woods in a rusty shopping cart, don't mean they're not a lady. My cousin needs to mind his manners, man. If he keeps getting rude around that forest fairy with the rusty cart, I'm gonna have to teach him a thing or 3. So here we go again, man. Every now and then, I get the chance to sleep under a roof. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's a real nice change of pace. See, I'm used to sleeping near a den of skunks in a little man-made scab hut near the power plant. Now, that same power plant may lead to a 3-headed squirrel or a 2-butt water otter. Everyone knows I've never been one to shy away from a nice view of the moon or a little waft of skunk spray. Any Hoosers, like I was saying, from time to time I get the chance to sleep under a roof. Sometimes it's my cousin Tabitha's diaper dumpster, and it's a tad dirty and a lot of stanky. But that's okay. It's like a wise man once said, there's a reason they keep Uncle Randy away from the cows. My buddy Ned thinks that I only stay at Tabitha's place because she's got a nice toot shooter. But hey man, that's my cousin. I wouldn't touch her log cutter if someone paid me $3 and a woodchuck pelt.